started, would you like to
Yeah.
give a brief introduction of yourself and a brief description of what your kind of music is and kind of a feel of it?
Cool, okay. Well, my name's Max Stockin. I'm 26 years old. I am a musician. I have been since I was 17. Full-time since I was 21 or 22, one of those. I started off in a band called The Fidgets. We were going for about 5 or 6 years. I did it full-time through them. We started off doing a lot of 50s and 60s blues, rock and roll covers. Then we moved on to our own stuff, which was following in that style as well. Then we started to go a bit more modern and started writing more modern pop songs and certainly songs in that style. And then we split up, and I now do it on my own. Still full-time. I busk a lot of the 50s and 60s covers because I just love that sort of music and I love playing it, and it makes me a living. And my new original stuff is a bit more modern. It's not the same as The Fidgets. It's a little bit different. Some of the songs I'm releasing at the moment are ex-Fidget songs that I've reworked. But I like to think it's quite modern pop. It's got modern production and modern sounds. But it still has got some of those 50s and 60s elements added to it. I like to think so. I don't know. You have to have a listen and tell me what you think. But I like to think that. I like to think so.
So how was it that you first got into music? So obviously you just said that you first kind of started getting into it at the age of 17. What kind of influenced you and inspired you in a sense to kind of start making music?
Well, to begin with, what really got me into it, I wasn't into music at all before 17, but I saw Queen, the band Queen, on an advert, and I was with my mum, and I said, I knew that it was Don't Stop Me Now was playing. They were playing that on an advert, and I said, "Who's this?" And she goes, "Oh, it's Queen. You must have this." I said, "No, I've never heard it before." Went upstairs and put it on, and I just literally from then on, just my love of music just grew from that. It was Queen for a long time, though. I listened to every Queen song under the sun. Really got into Queen. Then it was the Beatles, and then I started to listen to all sorts of different artists, and then it grew from there. But my uncle's been playing for about 50 years, and he was a massive influence when I started to play and stuff and to learn the guitar and things like that. I went to him and asked him to learn. I asked him literally, how do you do it, basically? And he's obviously, schooling was all blues and 50s and 60s stuff again, so that's where that comes from. But yeah, it was the Beatles are a massive influence just because of everything they've done. Queen are. There's a lot of modern stuff as well that I'm influenced by nowadays, but I don't find it's always artists. It's like you might listen to one song by one artist and there's something in that song that influences you, but then everything else they do doesn't influence you at all. It's really strange, you know.
So you mentioned that you were previously in a band called The Fidgets. Yes. What would you say like is the difference between being a solo artist rather than being in a band?
It's funny because obviously we did it full time, so it wasn't like we were just doing it like a weekends or just playing the occasional gig. It was all the time. So we literally lived in each other's pockets for about 2 or 3 years. And inevitably, obviously, something was going to change. I mean, we were literally, I think it was 2016, 2017. No, 2015, 2016, sorry. We were literally every day we'd see each other because we'd have to go and busk and make money, work. And then obviously our hobby, the other side of it, was doing the original music for the band. So our days off would be spent in the studio, writing, recording, or whatever we were doing. So it was literally a 24/7 thing. And we were obviously great mates and stuff, so that was very intense. And of course, there was 2 people. And of course, that doesn't last forever. It's like a relationship. I mean, sometimes it does. I'm not saying it doesn't, but there's always going to be something that it gets in the way. And of course, obviously, as we get older and things, and other people come into the mix and all that sort of stuff. Not saying anything bad, but things changed, and it's just it got tense, and there was arguments, and it's, you know, you always rely on somebody else is the biggest thing. Being on my own, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, really. If I want to go busking tomorrow, I'm going to go busking tomorrow. Of course, stay home and stay safe. But if I wanted to go busking tomorrow, I would. I could. I haven't got to text someone and say, "Do you want to come busking?" I can't, and I'm doing something else, you know, and then it causes an argument. So, I'd say the biggest thing is having to rely on someone else. That's the biggest thing, without a doubt. But that's not the positives are. Of course, it's nice to have somebody. I mean, there's more positives than negatives. I don't know why I started off with the negative, but having a writing partner, having someone there. Obviously, in this situation, there would be someone else sat there who I knew inside out, and we'd always have. It's hard to explain, really. You build up a chemistry with someone, and it really works. And when you've got a partner, a writing partner as well, and a performing partner, you can really work on your craft. And it's great on my own. I've got the vocals, the guitar, and I've got an original band behind me at the moment for my solo project. I'm not as close to them as I was with, obviously, Ryan, the other guy in the Fidgets. But yeah, when you've got that other element at work, it really, really works. And for writing and recording, playing, you've got that other weapon. You haven't just got one guitar, you've got 2 guitars, and you've got 2 voices, and you can really mix it up and make nice, interesting sounds. Yeah. So yeah, there's a big difference. I hope that answers the question again.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gone off on one. There's massive differences, massive differences, for good and for worse, you know.
Like, are there any barriers that you've had to face as a solo artist? Because obviously you don't have that kind of partner to work with in a sense. And it is easier in some areas, but like when it comes to possibly doing shows or just putting your music out there, is it harder? Is there anything that you've had to struggle with?
A few things, not struggle as such, it's more of like just a learning curve really, or like an overcoming of something, literally learning how to release music nowadays, because before that we had a management team and Ryan, the other fidget, was big on that. He'd sort of got into that. I'd never sort of got involved in the technicalities of releasing music. I learned all that because I had to on my own. Performing, towards the end of the band, I really wanted to perform on my own. I didn't want to be in a duo anymore, because obviously there's two of you and you're both the focal point for the band. You've got to both share the stage and you've got to both be there 100% each. And, you know, if there's like a song that I want to sing vocals on, that I've written, I suppose, more for me, you don't really want someone else there with it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I suppose it is a bit selfish, but same as him, you know, you write a song for yourself and you want to perform that song as you. When you've got to get someone else involved, it can be a bit tough. I think the writing is the biggest thing, because if you write a song and you're coming along and you come to a chorus and you can't think of anything and you're spending days trying to come up with something and you just can't get it, you know you've always got somebody else there to help you with ideas, and 10 to 1 they come along with a new idea and bang, that'd be it. You'd have a chorus that you would never have thought of, or another piece of the song, or lyrics, or some part of the song that you never would have thought of, and someone else comes in and goes, let's try this or try that, and you think, bloody hell, that's simple, but I never would have thought about it. That's the biggest thing, not having a writing partner. But with my producer Ben, who's brilliant at the moment, who I'm working with at the moment, if I take a song in, maybe not even finished, he will help me finish it off, and he'll throw more ideas in. So I've got not replacements, but I've got alternatives. You know, I've got other things there. But me and Ryan are thinking about doing a song together in the new year, actually, as two separate artists, which would be nice to write again. We'll never lose that writing touch. I think we'll always write together. Yeah. And help each other out. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. I said the writing thing. But then the positive is it's nice to work on my own as well. You know, it sort of works two ways, really.
So you touched on this a little bit earlier, but who are some of your biggest inspirations when it comes to writing?
That's tough, really. The Beatles, again, I'm going to quote them because they are, for me, the biggest influence. Again, it depends on, like I said, I think I touched on it earlier about sometimes individual songs and individual artists. It's not just all like, for example, there was a song I wrote a while ago that I was influenced by an Ed Sheeran song. I never released the song, but I think it was Thinking Out Loud. And I'm not a massive Ed Sheeran fan. I really respect him. I think he's brilliant. But I'm not a massive fan of his music. But I find just particular songs and a particular sound, even in a song, or even a particular lyrical influence you to write your own song based on that. And there's only a couple of artists where all of their work influences me a lot, the Beatles being one, of course. There's this artist called Emily Burns, who's a modern artist who's absolutely fantastic, and most of her work influences me in a lot of senses. The production, especially, the way she writes, that sort of stuff. But yeah, other than that, I would say it's mainly just particular songs or particular parts of that artist's career that influences me. So there isn't just always just that artist, you know?
Yeah. Are there any characteristics from any of these people or songs that you try to artistically embed into your own work, or maybe even look into yourself when you perform live?
That's interesting. Good question. I think Queen for the live thing. No, I'm nowhere near Freddie Mercury at all, and I haven't actually performed live with my new band yet. But for the live thing, definitely there's that sort of, I love the idea of it being a show, not just a gig. It's a show. There's lights and there's all, you know, it's like you go to the theatre and watch a play. There's all different stages and different acts, and it's a performance that you go and see. It's not just guys playing guitars, just playing a few songs, which works. Don't get me wrong, but I like the idea of the whole sort of, like you said, it means all lights and, you know, you look all fancy and that sort of stuff. I quite like that. Obviously, with a new thing I'm doing, I'm not playing guitar. I'm just singing. I've got a guitarist already, so I can just sing, move around, which is a very different thing for me. I've never done that before, which will be really fun. I'm looking forward to start exploring that and hopefully have more interaction with the crowd. I think. Did you say, what was the first part of the question? You said what particular part of artists?
Characteristics within the artist or like specific songs. Got you.
Yeah, I think the Beatles are obviously very famous for the harmonies, which is what the Fidgets touched on more than anything else. Obviously, when it's just you on your own, you can't do harmonies. But I've got a little pedal that does it now. But when it was me and Ryan, and we had two voices, the harmonies from the Beatles especially. The Everly Brothers, they were a big influence with the harmonies. So for the Beatles, it was the harmonies, definitely. But production and sound, it's stuff like Emily Burns, who I mentioned earlier. She's got fantastic sounds on her production. A lot of modern production. George Ezra's got great production. I think, yeah, I know. It's with the Queen, it's the live thing. With the Beatles, it's the harmonies and the lyrics. But lyrics are a funny thing. But you can get, again, like I said, you can get, sometimes you'll hear a line in an Elvis song of all things, and it's quite a nice line. Elvis's lyrics are always quite of their time, quite corny. You know, it's Elvis, isn't it? Love Elvis, don't get me wrong, but the lyrics sometimes are a bit like, oh. But some lyrics, you know, you might hear one and think, that's cool, and that lyric can turn into me writing a whole song about that particular subject, or some line might influence you. But yeah, I'd say I keep wanting to say Bob Dylan, but Bob Dylan's a little bit too poetic for me. I'm not that intelligent. He's very, you know, some of his lyrics are insane, and you can't understand it. But I wish I was better at lyrics, and I think, again, Bob Dylan's a great one for lyrics. There's no questions about that. Ed Sheeran's got great lyrics, you know, with that sort of. I'm not a professor of rap in any way, shape, or form, but that's all built on lyrics, and he's brilliant at that. You know, it's funny. I think trying to racking my brains and trying to think of other artists that really. Ryan, actually, the other guy from the Fidgets, he's a lot better. I'd say a much better lyricist than I am, in a sense. I don't really profess to be a lyricist, really. I sometimes get a subject and I try and write about the subject, and I try and use the best words that I can, but some people have got a knack for it more than I have. I think so, anyway. So,
obviously, talking about your music and writing and stuff, you've recently released a single called Do You Remember? Can you give us a bit of an insight into that? Kind of what was the writing process for that? Do you have a particular writing process when it comes to music?
I've literally going to do an Instagram video about this in about 2 or 3 days' time, because I like to do like a little video, kind of like this, where I talk to the camera. I'm talking to you, of course, but you know, like I sort of explain the process behind the song. This one, Do You Remember, was actually originally a song called She Was Different, and we were going to release it as the Fidgets, but we never did. We did it live once, and people liked it, and after that, it just never got touched again. It was sort of shelved, and I always liked it. It was my song originally anyway. Obviously I didn't have Nick Ryan's, but it was, I always wanted to work on it. I always liked it, and after we've come off stage after that gig, and literally about 13 different people were saying that was amazing, that She Was Different was a great song, because we introduced it on stage and we said this is a song our management team don't like, because they didn't like it the first time they heard it, and we thought we'll play it anyway. And every time we come off stage, and most people said, I like the one your managers didn't like, get them to record it. So and I always thought, well, that's obviously people like it, that's the main thing. So I took it back and I stripped it apart and changed the key and the chords around and the melodies and some bits. Called it Do You Remember? But it's about a relationship or a situation I was in about 2 or 3 years ago. It's about a particular point in that. It was a very, very funny relationship. I'm not going to go into the details, but it was about a particular specific point in that relationship, and I always wanted to write about that particular point. It was a couple of months. I just wrote Do You Remember based on that. I was influenced by Emily Burns. She's got a song that she released, I think, about a year ago called Too Cool, which I loved when it came out, and it's still a great song now, of course. And the way it's produced, especially, not so much the lyrics are very different to my song that she's written about in that song, but the production is just, I find it really similar, and I love the production on that song. So that's where the main production influence comes from. But lyrically, yeah, it was about a very personal thing that happened to me, and I tried my best to get it into words. So yeah, it's funny really, because when I released that, it happened literally at the start of this lockdown thing. So I released it at literally the wrong time, and I wanted to do a lot more promotional work after it happened. But of course, I think I released it on the 20th of March, and we were locked down on the 23rd. So I'd had like 10 days worth of promotion, different things to do each day to promote it. And I just, of course, obviously all the lockdown stuff happened. It got completely swept away, really. It didn't get the release push that I wanted it to. It's done well, and people are loving it at the moment, which is great. And I thank you to everyone that's listened to it. But I want to give it a bit more of a push now that everything's sort of died down, everyone's at home doing nothing. I feel like now's the opportunity to do a bit of promo work for it. So I want to do a little acoustic video of it and release that tomorrow, actually, on Instagram, and do a video of me discussing what the song's about, similar to what we've done now. But yeah, it's a good song. I remember recording it. It was good fun to record. It's quite a high song vocally for me. When we do it, we're live with the band or we practice it, I think, bloody hell, this is tough. I don't know how I did it in the studio, really.
Can you touch a little bit as well on your other single, Better to Burn? Because I personally think that's like very interestingly produced.
Thank you.
Just because of like some of the different kinds of like sounds that you've kind of used to fill the space within the song.
Yeah.
Kind of, where did you get some of the inspiration for that?
Well, that was a song originally called Can't You See, and it was one of my songs. I remember writing it. I think there's a little video on Instagram of me explaining this. I'm sure there is somewhere. I first come up with it years ago. The little riff in it, the guitar riff. It's only a couple of chords, that song. There's only about 7 or 8 chords in it. But I was on stage at the Mars Bar in Worcester. I was doing a gig, and in between songs, I just started playing. Sometimes you put the guitar down for a minute, you have a drink, and then you pick the guitar up and you just start. In between songs, you start noodling, as they call it. And I started playing those chords for that song, and I thought, oh, that's quite nice. So I got my phone out and just put the voice memos on and just recorded a quick 10-second demo of it. And thought, I'll finish that off later. That could be quite a modern sound. This was with the Fidgets, of course, and when we were going into more modern stuff, and I thought that might suit the more modern image we're going for. So I wrote it. Me and Ryan then finished it off, and it was a song called "Can't You See," and it was very different. The chords were the same, but it was different. Obviously, there was different lyrics that wasn't produced the same way. It was, never released it. The Fidgets broke up, and I thought, well, I want to keep that. I think that's the best thing I've written so far. So I took it into the studio with Ben, my producer. I'd rewrite the lyrics, but the chorus was the same as it was before. And he said, it's great, but we need to change the chorus. So he stripped the chorus to pieces, and he said, do you mind if I mess around with it? We might be able to find a new sound for you here. I said, yes, you do what you want. And he started singing the chorus. It's true what they say. And I thought, oh, that's awesome. That was just so different to what I normally do. And he said, why don't we go with that? That could be a new sort of sound for your project. I said, yeah, amazing, brilliant. So we wrote the chorus and the lyrics together. And then we kept going, and we just kept recording songs in that style. But the production idea, again, I've got to thank Ben for that, because I'm not a producer. It's someone that's never interested in me producing. I love obviously writing songs and recording them, but learning how to produce, it's never really interested me. I'd always pay someone to do it and watch them work their magic. But he's been so great in this, because he's helped me write things, not just produce. He's been helped me write things, and especially with Better to Burn. The sounds are all him. I mean, we suggest ideas. Of course we suggest ideas, but sometimes he'll just go, give me 20 minutes, let me just mess around with this, and he'll just get sounds from somewhere, some weird sounds, there's some interesting keyboard sounds in there that make up the chorus. Some strings are a big part of what we do, and we manipulate those strings to make them sound not like strings. But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different weird sounds on there, but what he put together from that was amazing. And I'll come out of the studio thinking, bloody hell, I can't believe I got this song, and I thought this is a great, exciting new way to go forward, And I was thinking what the song was like before. It's just weird how it's just changed, Yeah, they are interesting sounds when you say that. It's funny. I never thought about it like that, but yeah.
So is there anything in particular that we should keep an eye out for or expect from you after we come out of lockdown?
Well, my original plan, I'm not going to ramble on about this because I'm on for ages, but my original plan was to release a song in April. Well, my plan was to do a video in April for a song called The Answer. A bit rockier than what I've done already. It's still a modern thing, and it's still very much in keeping, but it's got more guitar-driven sounds in it and guitar-driven chords. I was going to do a video for that and release it in May. I had a whole release schedule plan. I did it. It took me an hour to do it, and it's all gone to pot now because obviously everything's changed. But my plan is, however long we're in lockdown for, I've got a few songs recorded anyway. I've got about 4 or 5 ready to go. I might release one of those just while we're in lockdown, because I'm really obviously doing so much more on Instagram, and it seems to be building a bit of a following. Where it's come from, I don't know, but there seems to be more people interested in what I'm doing. So I might release one of those songs that I've got recorded, just drop it out there just while we're in lockdown now, and just make the most of people that are interested in what I'm doing. Because obviously when we come out of this, everyone's going to be going out, and the last thing they're going to probably be caring about is Instagram. My plan is to carry on really with what I was planning to do, just obviously to do it later in the year, get a video done, and get a new song out called The Answer, and get a nice video done for it. That's the plan, and then keep doing that sort of format every couple of months. I'm trying to release every 2 months, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the plan. So keep your eyes peeled for a video, because there is definitely one coming. Like I said, I wanted to be there to be one a lot earlier, but it just didn't play out that way.
So just the last little question before we come to the end.
Yeah.
Touching on lockdown and the coronavirus, how do you think that's kind of coming to impact on the music industry and the more smaller artists that aren't signed and don't have these big record labels to back them at the moment?
It's tough. That's a good question. It's a very good question. It's affected the industry in a massive amount. I think on a big level, I think even more than a small level nowadays. I think because obviously all the big festivals have all been cancelled, every single one around the world. So, and massive artists are cancelling tours and stuff. So I think it's affected the bigger industry more than the smaller industry. All those tours are being cancelled. It's really shook everything up this year. I think this year's a write-off in terms of music, really. But I think on a positive thing, it means that we can all... I mean, you look how many big artists are doing live streams. I mean, and people are loving it, aren't they? Because everyone's at home, got nothing to do. So I think the positives are everyone can just really push music in the right way. I don't think people want to be bombarded with it. But it's a chance to... For me personally, I've been using it as a chance to... what I did just before we got locked down, I did a little video of me saying, people send me cover suggestions for different songs. So I'm gonna have so much free time. I'm not busking or anything. So send me cover suggestions of songs that you want me to do to entertain you while you're in lockdown. And I've got all sorts of different suggestions, and I still haven't got to the list. I've got 2 or 3 more left to do. But they're all different sorts of songs that I would never have recorded before. And I think that's gained a lot of interest from me. People are thinking, oh, he's doing a song that I like, and I wonder what else he does. And so I've been using it. I think really it's been an advantage for me because you get to focus on social media and really knuckle down. And the audience is contained in social media now. You haven't got, like you think when you go back to normal, you might post at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but everyone might be at work doing other stuff. So then see what you're posting. But now everyone's literally on their phones all the time. Well, a lot more than they are normally. I think it's a chance to really focus on Instagram and really push, or social media in general, just push that. But yeah, I think it's going to have an effect. I mean, I can't obviously busk and make a living off it. I'm getting my money through other sources at the moment. The government are helping me out, so I'm okay. Touch wood anyway. But yeah, it's affected busking and gigging. And I mean, like I said, on the bigger levels, all the festivals, but the local level, obviously, just all the venues are closed. People can't busk, people can't gig, people can't practice, rehearse. It's a very interesting time. There's a good YouTuber called Damien Keys, for anyone listening who's into music or is a musician, and he released a few videos about a week ago about what to do on lockdown, and his thoughts. He's more of an industry expert than I am, but his thoughts on lockdown and how it's affected people. And I've took a bit of information from him, but it's true. It's really shook everything up. Not just music, but everything really. It's a very unprecedented time.
So thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for being on.
Are there any final messages you want to give to anyone watching? And where can everyone find your music and find you on social media?
Well, the main message for me is just everyone stay safe and keep positive. Don't read the media too much because they tell you a load of rubbish most of the time. There's so many different media channels nowadays. All the news channels tell you all these sorts of stories about when it's going to end and all that. So just keep positive, keep safe, and we'll all be through it before we know it. But all my stuff is on. If you just type in Max Stockin, that's Stocking without a G, onto Google, you'll see YouTube. It'll all come up first. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's all there. So Max Stockin, or type in Better to Burn, Max Stockin, or something like that. Instagram, Spotify. They're the two main ones for me. But I've got a Facebook page, so and YouTube, of course. So I'm all there. I'm all on social media. So give me a follow and we'll have it. And send me a message and we'll have a chat.
I'm better off without you, but you